Hello, this is lesson 45. This is about classifying quadrilaterals. Now remember when we learned that a quadrilateral is a type of polygon, and a polygon is a closed flat shape with straight lines or composed of line segments. So a quadrilateral is a four-sided polygon, but there's many different types of quadrilaterals, just like we learned about the different types of triangles. So first of all, we classify quadrilaterals usually by their sides. Parallel side, we have quadrilaterals with two parallel sides, one pair of parallel sides, and no pair of parallel sides. Remember, parallel means that they stay the same distance apart and they never intersect. So they can be oblique, vertical, or even horizontal. That would be parallel. So if it has two pairs of parallel sides, then it's a parallelogram. That one's pretty simple. If you hear the word parallelogram, you're going to have pretty much all parallel because it's two pairs of parallel sides. So these are what parallelograms look like in the pink, and I can mark for you the parallel sides. These two sides are parallel, and these two sides are parallel. These two sides are parallel, and these two sides are parallel. So notice that all of them have parallel sides. Now within a parallelogram, we have different types of parallelograms. We have rectangles. In a rectangle, by definition, this might be important to write down, a rectangle means that it has four congruent angles, primarily four right angles. That's all it takes to make a rectangle. As long as you have four right angles, it is by definition a rectangle. So this is an example of a rectangle right here. And another type of rectangle, or a rectangle, another type of rectangle is a square. We know what a square is. Square means that all sides are the same length, but they also have four right angles. And again, if it has four right angles, it is by definition a rectangle. So a square is also a rectangle. That's why I have an arrow drawn from the rectangle to the square. But a square, so a square is always going to be a rectangle. A rectangle won't always be a square. So here's an example of your square right here. And I'll draw the four right angles for you. Square corners, 90 degrees. So if it has four right angles, it is by definition a rectangle. If it has four right angles and all sides are the same length, it is by definition a square. Now, we also have another type of parallelogram, which is a rhombus. A rhombus is not a rectangle, but a rhombus can be a square because a rhombus means that all sides are the same length. Squares, all sides are the same length, so a square is also a rhombus. A square is also a rectangle. So this is they're a little intersected here. A rhombus means that all sides are the same length. So I'm going to draw lines right here showing that all of them are the same. But the angles don't have to be right angles. So rhombus has nothing to do with the angles. It has to do with the sides. Rectangles have to do with four right angles. Rhombuses have to do with four sides of the same length. And squares are a combination of both. So that's parallelograms, quadrilaterals with two pairs of parallel sides. Now we have quadrilaterals with only one pair of parallel sides, and they are called trapezoids. These are examples of trapezoids. This is probably the one that you're most familiar with, that you think of when you see a trapezoid. However, it can also look like this and this as well. Although these two are the same, they're just kind of turned differently because I have one pair of parallel sides there, and it's just almost kind of tilted. And here, there's my parallel sides. So trapezoids are quadrilaterals with one pair of parallel sides. If I have two pairs of parallel sides, it's a parallelogram. Then we also have quadrilaterals with no pairs of parallel sides. This is what they would look like. None of them are parallel. You may think that these two are parallel, but this one is slanted. I'll say slanted slightly more than your sides up here. So this is a trapezium. These are all trapeziums. None of the sides are parallel to each other, so none of the sides stay the same distance apart. They're all slanted in different directions. So that's an overview of classifying quadrilaterals, and here's your practice set to do. I want you to classify each of these shapes. You can have more than one classification for these, but use the words trapezoid, trapezium, parallelogram, rectangle, square, or rhombus. So using all of those vocabulary words that we've gone over, you are going to classify each of these shapes, letters A through F. And we'll go over your answers in class. Thank you very much.